Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features X-Men Volume 2, number 13, cover dated October 1992. So the cover here by Art Thibert, also the artist of the interior comic, featuring the X-Men Blue Team, and they've got their antagonist right behind them, Hazard here, and the cover caption, Hazardous Territory. We've just got a headshot of Cyclops in the corner box. So let's open this one up, and we have our splash page here with Professor X, and it turns out he's got Hazard's hand around his throat, and they're both of them flashing back to their youth at the Almagordo nuclear research facility, and here are their parents, our fathers, Brian, Xavier, Kurt Marco, the father of the Juggernaut, and Alexander Reiking, the father of Carter Reiking, who is Hazard. And the whole point is, just turn this one around for you, hopefully you can see the double page vertical splash there. So Hazard is saying to him, you and I are two of a kind, freaks with no past. Do you understand what that means? How can we know where we're going if we don't know where we've been? So Past Sins, Future Secrets, A Tale of the X-Men, brought to you by Fabian Nicieza, writer, Art Thibert, artist, Dan Panosian, art assistant, Joe Rosas and Marie Javins, colorists, and Lois Buhalis, letterer. Okay, so let's continue with the comic. So Hazard takes Professor X through the facility into an abandoned office here, and basically he's asking him, did you look at the file, the government file that he sent him that we saw Professor X with in issue 5? And Professor X responds he didn't believe what was in it, and basically Hazard says to him that they're going to go down to a hidden section, a sub-basement beneath the facility, and discover whatever secrets might lie there regarding their origins. So then we switch scene to the arrival of the X-Men Blue Team aboard the Blackbird, and there's reference here to the fact that they're one team member down because Psylocke is over in England visiting her brother Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain, starting with Excalibur number 55. So Cyclops gives the orders for Rogue and Wolverine to go in first and to scout around. And then we get this interesting bit here of characterization, character development between Rogue and Wolverine, who have been team members together on the X-Men for a long time, going all the way back to Uncanny X-Men 171. Of course, they had their adventure in Japan, and they were stalwarts of the Outback era X-Men. So colleagues a long time, and Rogue was basically saying to him, after everything we've been through, don't dismiss her, when she offers him a shoulder to lean on. And she says to him, stay calm and we'll find our way through this mess, all of us together. And he responds, it's not that easy. All my life I've fought to keep the beast hidden inside the man. Now I'm finding out that maybe the man was a lie. And this refers to what's going on in Larry Hama's Wolverine, where Wolverine is becoming more bestial, even as he investigates the Weapon X program and his origins. But Rogue rebukes him and says to him, remember who she is. She's the girl who absorbs other people's powers and their memories. Who knows more about living under the covers of a lie more than her? So he gives her that round. And then we switch to Cyclops. This is almost a swipe of a Jim Lee panel of Cyclops here. So Art Thibert continuing with his high fidelity imitation of Jim Lee's style on these fill-in issues. And then the Beast bounces into action, and basically they make their way through the facility, and they're in radio contact with Wolverine and Rogue. And Wolverine says that he has discovered where Professor X is, because that's what happened at the end of the previous issue. Professor X was abducted by Hazard. So they're on the other side of the wall, and basically Cyclops Gambit use their powers to blast through the wall, which they do here. And then what did they discover on the other side? Except Hazard does indeed have Professor X prisoner, and he's also using his energy wielding powers to hold Wolverine and Rogue in stasis. And then we switch back to the X Mansion, and we've got Jubilee interrupted from her bubble bath by an incoming call, and it happens to be who else except Sam Guthrie of X-Force, and he's looking to talk to either Professor X, Cyclops, or Storm. He's obviously got something important, but he doesn't want to leave a message. He says he'll call back, and Jubilee is left wondering whether she should have traced the call. So a little sowing of the seeds here for the upcoming X-Over Executioner's song. So a little kind of teaser here in terms of what might Sam have been calling about. And then we get another teaser, double page scene here with Strife and former New Mutants Rusty and Skids, who are now members of the Mutant Liberation Front headed by Strife, and they're teleporting back somewhere via Zero, and they've got an object, an artifact for Strife, and it looks like a papyri scroll parchment that holds an image of what looks an awful lot like Apocalypse, but Strife calls him the Sinner of Time and says that he intends to steal his past the way he has stolen my future, one piece of flesh, one slice of soul at a time. So implying a shared history backstory between Strife and Apocalypse, and that's going to get worked out in subsequent issues of various X titles, including the Cable miniseries. Then we go back to Almagordo, and we've got this one-page splash here of the blue team, Rogue and Wolverine, freed somehow, facing off against Hazard. And what happens is that Hazard uses his powers again on Rogue, blasts him into Wolverine, and then Cyclops orders, as it turns out, Beast to go into action. And we get a bit of witty commentary here from Beast, where he's saying, far be it from us to actually try and talk our way out of this. Why negotiate a peaceful resolution when excessive pugilism would suffice just as nicely, eh? So he punches Hazard in the jaw, but Hazard emerges and gonna have to go back into battle again. So some colouring errors in this issue. We've got Professor X's the whites of his eyes there coloured in flesh peach colour, and some of this an indication with the two colourists too that this issue probably was under a deadline gun trying to get it to the printers. And some of these pages, the ones by Marie Javins, not as good as the ones by Joe Rosas. This is a Marie Javins page for sure. Also definitely this is the sign of Dan Panosian here. These are his marks on the page, so this is his art assist also factoring into getting this book to the printers on time. So how the whole thing is resolved is Cyclops uses his optic blast to take out Hazard's gauntlets, and then Hazard loses control of his powers, and a charge builds up and he's not able to control it. So he's going to blow up, but Professor X intervenes and goes into his mind, and so the discharge of energies occurs, but Hazard actually survives, and Wolverine pulls him out of the debris of the Almagordo facility and tells him with one claw not popped beneath his neck to start talking, but Professor X intervenes and says, Logan, there was nothing here, nothing put him down. If Carter was right, if her fathers were involved in anything, the answers won't be found here. So Cyclops asks, so you think there's no truth to Ryking's claims? And Professor X says, I don't know, only that the answers to be found aren't here where my father died. Perhaps it's time to start looking in the places where my father lived. So the mystery continues in terms of what was going on at the Almagordo project, and how Professor X's father, Juggernaut's father, and Riking's father might have had anything to do with the origin of mutants, let's say, and or the Weapon X program, because one of these files that flies away in the wind is entitled Shiva's Scenario, and that refers to something that's going on over in the Wolverine titles, where these Shiva soldiers are going after products of the Weapon X program, including, of course, Wolverine. So a mystery teased in the course of these two issues, X-Men 12 and 13, and not resolved at all by the conclusion of the issue. Just an interesting other little effect here, this kind of background. I'm not sure if it's ink or if it's a grease pencil. It looks like a grease pencil, indicating the smoke and ash and dust from the explosion at the Almagordo facility. So an interesting little art touch in the background of these panels. So, and next up, it's the Executioner's Song, as the caption proclaims here, a 12-part X-over starting in Uncanny X-Men 294. So I do hope that you enjoyed this review of X-Men number 13. If you did so, please like the video. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.